So much of my work dealt with ideas around visibility and invisibility. The ways in which working class people, specifically Black bodies, use dress as a tool of power. How does dress become a way to carve one's presence into space? What do I mean by visible or invisible? I'm talking about like socially or socioeconomically in relation to those kinds of hierarchies. When I made Three Kings Weep, I was really thinking about, one, the way Black bodies are thought of in public space. And then even more specifically, thinking about the way the Black male body is seen in public space. We often think that the weaponization of Black bodies only exist in spaces that are either occupied by white people. But this, of course, isn't true, because where I come from, Black poor bodies are seen in the same way. Regardless of the ethnicity, there is the same projection. And I always think like that's where colonization works. When you have convinced the very colonized, even from really early on, to question that body that is a direct reflection of you and the possibilities, that is where colonization has been successful. I came across this article from a tabloid back home. It was about men who are using skin bleaching to elude the police. And I thought about the act of lightening one's skin, how grotesque that is. But also too, it's a practice that's largely associated with the feminine, and then thinking about Jamaica being such a hyper-masculine and also homophobic space, and thinking about these bodies that would be seen as machismo, employing feminine tactics as a way to reimagine their bodies to escape the law just seemed really interesting to me. My work's always dealt with violence in varying degrees. These butt-ups between beauty and violence have always been something that I've been unpacking. It just became a kind of natural evolution from thinking about what it means to strip the surface. Much of this is also done with the same thinking around dress and carving oneself into presence. What does it mean to erase oneself into visibility? As violent as that act may seem. And so in making the work, I thought about what it would mean to picture these bodies at their most vulnerable. What would it mean to think about the humanity of these bodies? So at first I thought about these three young men taking their clothes off as an act of demonstrating vulnerability, and the last thing they would have done would have been to take off whatever they were wearing on their heads, which I see as the crown. And then I thought, but no, we do not need to demonstrate our value to anyone. We don't need to bare ourselves to anyone. They get dressed, never losing the gaze of the audience. To the voice of a young boy whose voice hasn't cracked, to the poem, If We Must Die, written by Claude McKay in response to Red Summer, the killings in 1919. I think it was largely racist attacks by white mobs on Black bodies here. But here it is, there's this very weighted poem that a child, also vulnerable, a Black boy, is also reading.
If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accursed lot.
I think that men are also cultured, right? They're cultured not to be too soft, do not cry, because then that's also seen as a point of weakness. But then being vulnerable is like a deep act of strength, you know? The last thing they do is crown themselves. And when we think about what the act of being crowned means, is that there's a bestowing of power, there's a bestowing of dignity. I'm always trying to push myself, but I'm always trying to find ways to push the viewer, not just with the work, but also to when they step outside of the space. Slow the viewer down using all the trappings of beauty. You know, what seeing means versus looking to peel behind the facade. When Black bodies, and especially Black male bodies, are talked about, there is a way in which these people are spoken of as if they're objects, as if they're inanimate. And so what does it mean then to move that? And to move that through all the experiences that any feeling being would feel.